This is an audio-only recording of an exercise session for Vision of Adventure. This winter our sessions are sponsored by the charity, Fight for Sight. Cycling, led by Kath Finn. Please note that you will need some form of stationary exercise bike for this session.
Good evening, everybody. This is the last one of what's been a really great series, and it's finishing just as the weather's starting to be at least a bit nicer. It is still chilly today, but it's not so cold that you're worried about ice if you're going out at midday anymore. So life is improving, the daffodils are up, and we will be out soon. We're going to start as usual with our 5 minutes. I had a request to go through some of the nutrition stuff. So I'm kind of going to read through a slide thing that I put together for another group, which summarizes all the points that I did for the Vision of Adventure group. So I put it together for you guys. Then I adapted it and kind of filled it in a bit while I was thinking more about it for another group. And now I'm taking that and bringing it back to you. And you can tell me later, but if it is helpful to put that onto the WhatsApp group, if I can do it, then you can go through stuff if you want. So tonight we have Teresa and Steve and Molly and Sue Jones and Sue Beresford and Liz and Emily, which is great. And I need to put a timer on. 8. And I went and had my DEXA scan today, so I went and had a free health check as part of a research study. I love research studies. You get to do all these incredible things and they do all this amazing stuff for free. So that was really interesting. Anyway, the end result is that my bone density in my spine is rubbish. So that was a bit like, oh, I need to do something about that. And I'll have to go to the gym for eternity. Always my favourite not place, but never mind. Life sometimes is sent to send you in directions that you'd rather not go. But however, there you are. And it was really nice going to Lancaster Uni and looking at all the... It was just really nice to look at the buildings and be in that environment and stuff. I haven't done that for ages. So we're now going to do a couple of minutes of medium and then a minute hard. And this is all part of warming up. So we're wanting to, you've had 5 minutes spinning along. We've chatted for quite a bit of it. Should be settled in. And we're wanting to just turn the heat up a little bit. And we need, whoever said their garage was cold, we need to get it a bit warmer. So we're going for 2 minutes medium effort starting from now. And I'm going to try and read things while we're kind of doing this, so it'll all be a bit messy perhaps for the first bit. So nutrition, I'm not a dietitian. Those are the people who are really qualified. I've done quite a lot of reading and I've done a lot of investigating into sports fueling and what works. What I say is general, doesn't account for medical issues. It is really individual for what works for different bodies. So these are basic guidelines. So while you're pedaling away, going at a medium intensity, you will be burning calories. So women, on average, without doing masses of exercise, need kind of 1,500 to 2,000 calories a day. Men, kind of 2,000 to 3,000. Without throwing lots of exercise into the mix. When you get to the guidelines for the composition of an athlete's diet, for an older woman, so postmenopausal, you're looking at about 2 grams per kilogram lean body weight of protein. Men is less, it's about 1.6 to 1.8. Roughly 2 grams per kilogram of fat in your diet, which is really important, and then 3 to 5 grams per kilogram of carbohydrate, depending on what exercise you're doing. I kind of stray between probably about 2,000 calories a day in the off season up to kind of about 3,000 when I'm training. in the harder bits. So we're now coming up to the end of the 2 minutes, and I want you to go up for a minute into the hard zone. And I'm not going to speak through it because you should be working too hard to concentrate. And we're going to go 3, 2, 1, and off you go. So this is a whole minute, so it's not a flat out sprint. It's a up the resistance, effort level about 8, working fairly hard, that kind of nice steady 90 cadence. And that's you on the 90. And that's coming up to a minute, so you can slack it back again to the medium. So I don't want you thinking you've gone on holiday. We're coming back down to about effort level 6. You should have a little bit more concentration availability. Hold that cadence if you can. So a little bit about protein. You need it probably spread through the day in 4 or 5 lots, because you can only absorb and digest 20 to 30 grams at once. So if you're looking at kind of trying to take in 120 grams of protein, you can't do that all in one sitting. So steak plus 3 eggs all at once for dinner doesn't really cut the mustard. It's useful straight after exercise with a bit of carbohydrates, especially after strength. And that could be something as simple as a small carton of chocolate milk that has both. Good sources are meat, eggs, hummus, Greek yogurt, nuts, cheese, beans and pulses, protein powder if you're struggling to get enough. Some of these things have quite a high fat content as well, though, like nuts and cheese. So you've got to kind of spread it out. If you're vegetarian, it's harder because you haven't got that meat source. One helping of protein is about the size of a playing card, deck of cards. And then we go to hydration, which is really important. And they say about 2 litres a day of liquid. And depending which thing you read, sometimes they're really nice to you and say you can have caffeine, but generally not caffeine, alcohol or fizzy drinks. So that's about 8 cups of decaf, herbal teas, water, a little bit of fruit juice, but maybe only 1 cup, and milk is the other one. There's arguments for and against, and I'll talk about those in a minute, but we now need to be going back to a minute of hard. 3, 2, 1, off you go. I am radically declaring that I'm well, but I am aware I'm not really sounding it. Heart rate's normal, exercise is fine, mood's fine, energy's good. I think it's a London throat from all that stuff. All that pollution in the big city. Okay, you should be on about effort level 8 and you've got another half a minute to go. And hold on, keep going. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. So we're going to do 15 seconds of sprint, 45 seconds recovery, 15 seconds sprint, and we'll do 3 of them. So I'll just give Molly a sec to take her jumper off. Here we go. Right, are we ready? We're going for a 15-second sprint. 3, 2, 1, and go. 5, 10, 3, 2, 1, relax. So you've now got another half a minute till we go again. And I thought we'd have a run through of most of the things I do. So we'll do a little bit of medium effort, a little bit of overgeared, a little bit of really hard work, a little bit of cadence, just to round off the season. And we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. 5 done. 10, 3, 2, 1, relax. So you've got one more to do. "30 seconds to enjoy." "20 seconds, and Esther sends her apologies. She's collecting children and sorting life out. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. 15 seconds, flat out. Hard as you can. 10, 3, 2, 1, relax. Simple, huh? Okay, hence finished the warm-up. So we're going to do 3 blocks of 3 minutes of medium. So this is kind of at your lactate threshold, difficult to breathe, very difficult to have a full conversation, some words, hopefully half a brain. I'll have a little break in between, and I'll speak most of the stuff about nutrition. So, are we ready? Yes, because none of you can say no. 3, 2, 1, go. Settle in, good rhythm, effort level about 7, 8. So fairly demanding. Okay, now because you're sweating doing this, you need to drink more liquid than 2 litres. But there are, depending where you read, some people will say drink to thirst. Having talked to GPs and physios and people, I go for the 2 litres. And also as we age, we lose our thirst reflex. So that's another reason for trying to be disciplined about it. It helps your digestion, helps your kidney and your bladder health, helps your performance, helps you store carbohydrates efficiently, and it helps you look beautiful. It's good for your skin. So in terms of general diet, a little thing just as reminders, you're 1 minute through. Quality matters if possible. As little ultra-processed food as possible is good. If people eat mainly an ultra-processed diet, they tend to eat 500 calories more a day than people who are eating a diet made up of mainly real food. So over a week, that's an extra day's worth of calories, in fact more. So you can see how if you're eating a diet based on ultra-processed, that tends to lead to putting on quite a lot of weight. So things your granny had in the cupboard, usually really good. Anything that's made up of lots of stuff you don't understand or has more than 10 ingredients, is likely to be not quite so good for you. It is virtually impossible not to eat some of them. A stock cube, for instance. At least 5 fruit and veg a day is brilliant if possible. You can buy like cherry tomatoes and pre-chopped carrots and grapes and lots of stuff that's really easy to eat on the go. Little mange too, those little pea things are good. And it's harder to do that in the winter. Certainly I find that. Food should be a pleasure. So don't get so bound up in the whole thing that you forget to just enjoy. Supplements. I've got half a minute to go. There's hundreds of supplements. Choose really wisely if you choose to use any at all. Vitamin D3 at a level of about 2,000, I recommend. That's the only one I'm allowed to because the NHS says that over 50-year-olds should use it in winter. And it is really good for your immunity, your bone health. I've been told today to take it all the time, your brain function. So that is one that's worth considering. Okay, we're going to just relax for 30 seconds. And then we're going to go back on to another 3 minutes. I don't know what it's like paddling and listening, but timing and speaking is fun. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, off you go. Right, you'll find if you talk to athletes, we tend to take quite a lot of stuff, but I can't actually recommend. So I also take omega-3, B12, iron because my iron levels are low, vitamin C to help the iron absorb. Only take your iron if your iron levels are low. Other things athletes commonly take: turmeric, magnesium, calcium, glucosamine, chondroitin. Those last two are for joint health. But really try and listen to some stuff and consider what you're putting in your body. There's no regulation over producing supplements. You could be taking anything. It's worth remembering that. I'm sure you've got places that you know work if you want to check out the calories or the nutritional content of what you're eating. But if you know that you're likely to start restricting, if you've got skeletons in the cupboard about not eating enough, then don't start. I spend as a coach all my time or persuading clients to eat more, not the other way around. And food should be fun. Anything by Rennie McGregor on YouTube or podcasts, she's really sensible about all of this. And for women, Stacey Sims does some really good stuff about women's health and diet. Now, we talked about relative energy deficiency in sport affects males and females, and it's when you're underfueling, either because you want to restrict your food and be thin because that's the images that you're bombarded with, or because you're actually quite, you don't really understand how much fuel your body needs. So you don't necessarily lose weight if that's happening. If you're a female and young enough, any period changes are warning signs. Hormonal changes, if you're waking up in the middle of the night, if you can't sleep, it has a big impact on your bone health, but you can't see that. If you suddenly find you haven't got as much energy, you're quite irritable, you've lost your sex drive, you can't be bothered with stuff, or you're actually quite a bit depressed and anxious, those are real warning signs that one of the things that might be happening is you might not be eating enough calories to support your exercise. And the funny thing is you often can still perform really well. Because right back when we were trying to exist, one of the last things to be affected was the ability to run away from a tiger, because we kind of needed to do that to stay alive. And we want to now Have our 30 seconds. You've done 2 blocks of 3 minutes. We have a third block coming up. And then we'll go and do something else. So yeah, when you want to take your partner's head off, just consider whether you've eaten enough. I came in for lunch today and I was like, I just keep my mouth shut at the minute. I'll reconsider these thoughts after I've had lunch. I did get better. Okay, off again. Last 3 minutes. Effort level kind of 7, 8, working pretty hard. And I will go back to, right, thinking about fueling sport and talking about drinking more, because when you do sport, you sweat, so you lose more fluid, so you need to put more in. Water is often actually not the best thing because it doesn't always absorb very well. It's got the wrong osmolarity and it can draw fluid out of the bloodstream and into the gut. So if you've done stuff and you've got a bit of a swollen tummy, you're a bit bloated, there's a bit of sloshing kind of, and you're not that comfortable, it may well be because the water has drawn fluid out of your system. So sports drinks can help. And the problem is that they're really expensive, or you can make your own. So sports drinks, the electrolytes will help the absorption. And if you are using one that's got carbohydrate in it, follow the instructions because they've been designed to absorb well. So those are 2 additions that you can put in to help you. It's also quite beneficial to add a little bit of salt to those drinks, unless there's a medical reason not to. If you've got high blood pressure or anything like that, then don't. To help absorption, you can make your own drink. Just 2 teaspoonfuls of dark muscovade sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt in about 500 ml, so a normal cycling water bottle. And that will absorb better than water, but without giving you masses of calories. So for fueling sessions, if you're going for a long bike ride or you're doing something quite intense, try to eat something that's carbohydrate based about an hour to an hour and a half before. Might be a small sandwich, banana, pot of ambrosia like rice pudding. I'll come on to what to eat in your sessions, but be guided by the time you're doing and the intensity of effort. And after you've done a hard session, eat for recovery. So protein and carb within about 30 minutes or an hour. If you're male, you have a bigger window. Not masses. Again, like 250 ml of chocolate milk is perfect. Personally, I don't like it, but lots of people do. So you've got 5 seconds. So I'll just say this. Intensity impacts your digestion. So the harder you're working, the harder it is to digest and the nearer to pure sugar your system will want. So sweets, fruit, pastels, sports products, gels, jelly babies, any of those, any of the carb drinks will all absorb. If it's very hot, same thing. It's hard to digest. And as you lower the intensity, so Steve can eat anything he wants on a long distance cycle ride, and probably has to because you can't carry enough and you have to eat whatever you can find. Whereas if you're doing a race around the velodrome, you will be on straight sugar. And relax. Lovely. Now, you've kind of done the easy bit because that was a medium effort. So now we want to go to, just to remind you, before you're all let loose on your own for a few weeks, overgeared efforts. So those are when you drop your cadence down to about 60 and put the resistance up. Make it really difficult to push the pedals round. And that means that you should feel your glutes, your bum muscles and your quads, front of your legs, which should be producing lots of power. And it's a way of building strength. And it's a good way of building to go and hill climb. So if you're coming out onto your machine on your own, we've done standard warm-ups till they're coming out of our ears. And then you could choose to do some of the sections that we're doing tonight for different reasons. So we're going to do 3 times 2 minutes. And drop your cadence, get your resistance up, and 3, 2, 1, off we go. And that's giving you the slow cadence beat. And you shouldn't have a really high heart rate. You shouldn't be puffing and panting, but by the end of the 6 minutes we're going to do, you should be thinking, oh yeah, oof, that's quite hard work. And you've got another minute. So fueling something like a long day on the bike, or maybe you're going for a big fell walk, or with Theresa, you're running for miles. So you would have, for instance, an easy to digest breakfast 2 hours before, jam on toast, bagel, peanut butter, banana, rice pudding, porridge. That can be quite high in fibre. Some people swear by it. It doesn't work for others. Then eat something, if you've eaten way before, you're not going out till noon or something, eat something little an hour before. Bar, bit of muesli bar, banana. And in the last hour, now this is really, I guess, if you're racing, have a bit of carbohydrate that's quick to digest. So say an energy gel or 4 jelly babies, something like that. And then, again, depending how long you're going for and how hard you're working, about 40 to 80 grams of carb, 40 to 60 grams probably an hour. So that is, you just need to relax for 30 seconds. And then I'll tell you what 40 grams looked like. So you've got an idea of what to eat. So we've got an easier bit, and then we're going to go back to that really hard pushing effort. Okay, ready again. 3, 2, 1, and go. 2 minutes of pushing up a hill. And if you've forgotten your carbohydrate before you started this, you'll be feeling it. So like a medium-sized banana is about 20 grams of carbohydrate. Jelly babies are 5 each, so they're really easy to count. But they do go mushy if it rains, and they melt if it's really hot. So there are disadvantages. Various muesli bars, snack bars have different amounts in them, but they're quite convenient to carry. And then you get on to more complicated stuff. If you're out for a long time, too much sugar is really hard to eat all the time, so you end up like having some other stuff in there. Like maybe little bits of cheese, maybe some nuts with dried fruit, but don't choke on them. And don't forget the water. So you need about 500 mils, so 1 normal small water bottle per hour, which if you're not used to drinking it, is a lot. And so again, it's more about the discipline of making sure that you're fueling well. And so if you're going to go and walk up Scar Fell, that will kind of make sure you've got a constant source of energy coming in as you're going along. So it's easy to digest, stops you feeling starving when you get off, maintains your ability to put out energy and keep your pace. Afterwards, same thing, eat as soon as you can afterwards, just a little bit, and then eat properly later on. I'm going to have some questions. Any questions right at the end when we've turned the mics off? There we go. Okay. Oh, amazing. Almost perfectly timed. You can now 30 seconds, and then we've got one more section of 2 minutes left. So I kind of finished 2 minutes early. Perfect. If you get really keen, there's all kinds of things like blood testing and glucose monitors, but just getting a really solid athlete's diet, I find fairly challenging. Remembering to have food with me all the time, stuff in the car. I think as an endurance athlete, I think say you should eat every 2 or 3 hours. And as women, most of us, the exception of Steve here, who might manage on bigger meals, but we actually work better if we have our calories in smaller amounts more regularly through the day. And there we go. We're ready to go back. So 3, 2, 1. Last 2 minutes. It's funny now I've stopped talking. So if I was coming onto a session like you do, particularly the harder ones, I'd try and make sure I'd had a snack about an hour or so before, which might be, can get little oatcakes with fruit in them, which I quite like. A cup of tea, which has got a bit of milk in it. And then I would definitely have at least half a litre of water or solution with me. And I would make sure that I drank it. If I had water, I might also just have some jelly babies or something so that I could top up if I needed to. After this session, I would then try and have something fairly quickly, even if I was having dinner in a couple of hours. If you're having dinner straight away, brilliant, no issues. If you're not, then I'd probably try and grab a glass of milk or carrot and hummus or something like that, just to get something in me straight away. And if you're only doing one thing every couple of days, it's not so important. But if you're really busy people, you're juggling work, you're trying to exercise regularly, and you're working out quite a lot, which lots of you do, then it does become far more important. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Done. Climbed the hill. So now we're going to just switch focus and do a little bit of cadence work. And we're going to do a continual pyramid. So we'll do a minute and 90 because I'm nice. And then we'll go 100, 110, 190. So I might stick an extra one in the middle there, a bit higher. We'll see. All refreshed. I'm liking it. Bottles on the go. Okay. That's your 90 cadence going. Well, you're all quite good at that. I think I'm going to just rewrite this a little bit. And I will be doing something similar tomorrow morning. I didn't get on my bike today. I went for a run and went to the gym. And then did some club work for a big meeting at the weekend about what we're going to do next term. Okay, coming up to your minute. It's now gone up to 100. It was nice to go and be part of another world in London. There were so many people. I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm just like live in the boonies, don't I? So we went to the Book of Mormon show, which was funny, and then we sat in an Italian restaurant, drank hot chocolate, and watched the world go by for about 2 hours, and looked at everybody's fashion sense, and it was great. My niece is cooking down there. I went out to lunch at the restaurant where she works. It was really nice. And I went and looked at some modern art and some old art. Oh, okay. We're now going up. Oh, it's 110. So we're going to do 110, then 120, then 110. So there won't really be much difference technically between what you can hear probably, but you've got 3 minutes to keep this kind of really fast, lovely little spin. Halfway through this one. And I got an outrageously unsuitable dress in Oxfam at Christmas when I was looking for Christmas presents for other people. And Jamie was laughing. So I'm in a backless, fully sequined long dress with a little kind of fur fluffy thing around me. And I'm eating, street food. My fingers are sitting outside. And it's going, the contrast. Okay. We've now gone up again. So this is your very fastest one. Lovely. So I'm lucky. I'm not really that bothered about cake. But, give me like Mexican chicken street food and yeah. Latin American, Caribbean, Vietnamese, I don't care. Just all those flavours are just amazing. Right, down we come again. That's on 110. And there's a really interesting thought around at the minute that no matter how much exercise you do, you burn the same number of calories as if you worked in an office all week and did nothing. And that's quite hard for me to get my head around. So we've kind of thought about, I think people, if they're starting to exercise and they think they're doing like, they're going for a walk around the park when they wouldn't normally, and then they go, we've done some exercise, so I'll eat a cake. No, there were cake calories next to them the other day. It's like 640 calories in a piece of carrot cake in a cafe. So that is almost half your daily intake without exercise. So if you do a little walk and then you eat a cake, it's kind of going to inversely work. But it's a very complicated mix, that one, I think. Right, we're going down to 100. And that should feel real easy. So when you're pelting around the velodrome, it's 4 calories it takes to make a watt of power. So if Steve was talking about putting out 240 watts, just going to do my maths here, 40 to 8, 9. So in an hour, he burns 960 calories, if he's holding that. So it kind of, there's lots of little nuances. If you do lots of exercise, your body burns more, especially straight after exercise. It needs to refuel, rebuild, so it takes everything in. Okay, down to 90. This should feel delightfully slow and like you've gone on holiday now. There you go, drifting into the finish of this section. Looking lovely. 3, 2, 1. And stop. Brilliant. So we've done a bit of a warm-up, a bit of a general resilience threshold, lactate generating 9-10 minutes. Then we've done a bit of strength work. Then we've done a bit of skill work with your very high cadence and your neuromuscular firing. And we couldn't leave the session without doing a bit of hard work. Now, I can see there's 1 or 2 of your faces going, but we have doing hard work. What do you mean hard work? So this was Lizzie's favourite bit, I think. Be careful what you wish for. We are going to do 8 minutes of 20 really hard, 40 quite hard. That's seconds. So we're going to have a real push to be up in the kind of 9 area. Don't worry about the cadence, just keep the legs moving. And then you're going to bring it down slightly. So you're going to come down to the 7-8 area of effort for 40 seconds. And then you're going to go back up. So it's pretty merciless, but I know you guys are up to the challenge. So do you need drinks or anything beforehand? There's 1 or 2 going for the distraction technique before we start. I'm definitely not talking through this because you should be working far too hard to take anything in. So, are we good? It's 20-40, so don't get too carried away by an incredibly flat-out sprint because you've got to hold effort for 8 minutes. So yes, you're working really hard, but you're trying not to blow up. 3, 2, 1, and go. 20 seconds. Pretty flat out. Good fast cadence, lots of power, lots of tension through the whole body, trying to keep the upper part still. 3, 2, 1, change to still effort level 7-8ish. That's the one you did 3 times 3 minutes of. Hard resistance, but just not quite as flat out. "20 seconds of this level to go, and then you're going back up again. "10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, power on, 20 seconds. And 20 seconds isn't that long. The hard bit is you don't really get a decent recovery. 10 gone. 3, 2, 1. And you're still holding that 7, 8. So you shouldn't be sitting up relaxing. You should still be driving, but just not quite as hard. Nice effort. 15 seconds before you go up. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. You will be putting out some watts at this point. 20 seconds. 10 left. 3, 2, 1. Back to a mere 7, 8 effort level. I know, it's killing you. It's good for you. Keep it going. It's your high intensity efforts. Retain the amount of oxygen that you're able to utilize in your body well into your older age. Coming up. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Pressure on again, 20 seconds. Lovely. 3, 2, 1. Back to effort 8. So that means that you must have been at effort 9 or 10 before. Well done. Loving the commitment. Great way to bring it home. Ten seconds left. And you are halfway through. 3, 2, 1. And up to 9. Just that little bit of additional effort. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Well, not quite. Sorry. Just down to effort level 7, 8. You've got 3 more minutes. Ten seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, go. A little 20-second spurt. Three, 2, 1. Back to that left at level 8. 7.5 maybe. Just a little bit vicious. "15 seconds until you go again. You're on your second last. 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds. No, you're not. I can't count. Yes, you are. 10 gone. 3, 2, 1. Right, hold the effort at 8. Coming up to your last hard 20 seconds. $15 to go. All right, give this last minute all you've got. 3, 2, 1. Last 20-second blast. Fantastic. 3, 2, 1. Hold on to the effort 8 for the rest of the minute. Not quite finished. Just hang in there. That's brilliant. We just got 20 seconds up to that last little bit. Keep your focus. Well done. 5, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Well done. Yay! There's a few people needing to move and stretch and relax. Congratulations. Okay. If you are watching on record, then please make sure that you spend the next 5 minutes just turning your legs around. And if you are on here, we'll have 5 minutes and I will